Young Aussies left behind in the economic recovery. Let's have a look. Hello everyone, Florian Heiser here and welcome to another episode of Heiser Says. Grab your stein of coffee and let's look at this article from Yahoo Finance written by Lucy Dean. Let's have a talk about this impact on the economic recovery. So, real negative, the young Aussies left behind by the recovery. Most Australians have experienced some form of financial recovery from the worst of the COVID-19 downturn, but the recovery risks leaving one particular group of young workers behind. Well, here's the thing. I would argue that we haven't actually felt the impact of the recession yet because of all of the interventions in the economy, all of the support mechanisms. Once these are removed, as of, well, today is the end of JobKeeper, and once the mortgage holidays disappear and the job seeker bonus disappears and the trading while insolvent restructuring time frame disappears, should be coming up soon this quarter, then we'll start to see over the next 3 to 6 months if the economy really has feet. Then we'll see how it's going. We'll start to feel the ramifications. There's a chart I show every now and then, and I will bring this up. It's the Property Council. Hang on, I'll find it because I'm so well organized here at Heiser Says. The data room at the Property Council of Australia. And I think this is quite telling. Let's have a look at offices because we can see just the vacancy rates of commercial offices. If we go here, office vacancies. Because you could argue vacancy rates of these things is going to be a sign of the demand for commercial space just for a big part of the economy. And look at that, how it climbed up from January 1990 at about 5% all the way up over 20%. That's the recession Australia had to have. It took years for this to be felt. Years, everyone. We can see in Sydney as well. Look at that. Melbourne. There you go. Brisbane. Not so much, but it more than doubled. Adelaide as well. Perth. Look at that spike. Over 30% in Perth. Perth may be a bit different right now because of all of the mining. Hobart, another big spike, and then boom, and again. Darwin, no data until 2010. But here's an interesting one, Canberra. It didn't get the same spike. It definitely climbed up, but much slower. And I would argue that part of this is to do with the, delayed impact of the recession. Technically, sure, we're out of it. We've had 1 quarter of economic growth again. But it's going to take some time for it to flow through. And because of all of the support mechanisms, that's going to be dragged out. So the unemployment rate has shrunk to 5.8% in February. And that's based on the ABS data, everyone. If we look at Roy Morgan, which uses a different methodology for their unemployment rate, and here we have workforce, employed, unemployed, and looking for work. They've got the unemployment rate at 13.2, generally double the ABS to get a rough figure for the Roy Morgan data, guys. But according to economics professor at the University of Melbourne, Jeff Borland, young Australians who aren't studying risk being forgotten. Really? I thought they'd be at an advantage due to the Job Maker program. There are groups of workers who still haven't bounced back as much as other groups of workers. And the big group of that is young people who have finished their education. Oh, okay. So people have done their, like graduates. Oh, of course. Yeah, it's a tough time to graduate now. Now, when I was at university, we were quite lucky. There was a boom in apartment building and in resource. So there was a lot of work for architecture students. There was a lot. Now, none of us were paid at award. Everyone was paid more than the award. And I had a mate who was a bit older and who got out of high school right when there was last recession was happening, and he felt it. He noticed it. It was tough. Young people as a group aren't back to where they were last March in terms of proportion employed, whereas all the workers have gone back. And this is the thing. You don't want economic scarring. In your younger years, you've got more energy. Frankly, you literally have more energy. When I was 20, I had more energy now, or in my 20s. Now as I'm approaching my 40s. And you can just do the all-nighters. You can go boom, one after the other, and you work hard, and you build your career, and you get your experience. Now, maybe I'm just jaded. I can't be bothered anymore. Maybe that's it, guys. I'm just jaded. The youth unemployment rate decreased 1.1% to 12.9 over February as 31,000 people returned to work. However, they're still 0.5 percentage points higher than it was this time last year, and significantly higher than the overall unemployment rate of 5.8. So the ABS youth unemployment is at 12.9. So what would it really be if we were measuring it using the same Roy Morgan methodology? Would it be double that? What about underemployment? At the same time, young full-time students are actually more likely to be employed now than they were this time last year, Borland noted. That's largely due to the fact that the types of jobs full-time students are taking on, like hospitality, have been left vacant by hordes of temporary migrants and international students. But for fresh graduates and those who choose not to study, the jobs aren't there. The real negative story is that of young people who aren't full-time students, who aren't studying full-time, or who are only studying part-time. For them, their employment population rate is still down about 4 percentage points of where it was in last March. Well, it's the trick to go back to uni, get some more upskill during a recession. Isn't that what they say? When there's a slowdown in my industry, Rachel noticed a lot of her colleagues at university went and had kids. In particular, we know it's all full-time employment that's been lost, and we know it appears to be concentrated on people with low levels of education attainment. I think that's a real big issue in the labour market at the moment. What's happening to young people who have left education? They seem to be the group being left behind in the recovery. Borland's comments come amid new information from Treasury officials revealing the government's youth-targeted JobMaker hiring credit has only 609 workers enrolled. So there you go. I mean, people are worried. It is a JobMaker discriminates based on age. It's designed to get young people into work. You get either $200 or $100 extra a week for those workers. Now, if you are over 35 and you're not worth that extra $100 a week, you need to look at yourself. What have you been doing with all this time training and getting skills? That's the real worry there. If you're frustrated at this discrimination, because $100 a week ain't that much with regards to the hassle of hiring someone. It should take the edge off, but what do you reckon? So that's despite 15,000 registrations of interest. Well, it takes time to roll out, and employing someone, because you have to employ someone new, it's not something you want to do at the drop of a hat, because it's so hard to get rid of someone if they're terrible. People will do whatever they can to avoid hiring people. The harder you make it, the more rules you put in place, the more you disincentivize people from hiring. I had an email, just came the other day. A recruiter was trying to get me to hire admin assistants, and the casual rate for the Cert 3 was $27 an hour. $27 an hour for like an admin girl. Insane. Utterly insane. I guess I'm so detached from it. But what do you think? What would I do if I needed someone to do my admin and stuff like that? Which, frankly, I've built a database to automate it all. But what I would want now, probably someone to help me with my YouTube thumbnails. They take a bit of time. They don't take much, but they take a little bit of time. Do you think I'd hire someone here locally to do it, or would I contract it to someone overseas? What do you reckon? Or third one, would I be too cheap and just do it myself and stay up later and do other work? Which one do you think I'd do while I have a shot in the coffee? But there you go, guys. The program was designed to support 450,000 jobs for workers younger than 35, although critics have described the scheme as ageist and poorly targeted. Well, if you're 36 years old and not worth $100 more than someone under 35, like I said, you need to improve your skills. Globally, youth unemployment is on the World Economic Forum's agenda, with a disillusioned youth classed as a clear and present danger for 2021. And here's the thing. I would completely agree with the WEF on this. There is a huge danger if you have a disillusioned youth that they can become ideologues. They can be used for political leverage. Look at what what happened in Germany. Look at what happened in China. Look at the growing push towards socialism in the West. People are feeling hopeless. I spoke to a gentleman today, and he was, because I was talking about how many kids we have, and he was saying how young people just don't have kids anymore. And I said, well, you know why? It's because houses are too expensive. People are putting off having families because they can't even get a house. He'd never thought about that. I think it just dawned on him. And that's the danger. The WF are right. Growing societal fragmentation manifested through persistent and emergent risks to human health, rising unemployment, widening digital divides, and youth disillusionment can have severe consequences in an era of compounded economic, environmental, geopolitical, and technology risks. Klaus Schwab, founder and executive chairman, and Sidi Zahidi, managing director, wrote in the forum's annual Global Risk Report. Well, here in Australia, I would say housing costs and inequality. Inability for people to get the stability that they had. That's the problem. You're not going to have the same life, the same quality of life as your parents. You're not going to be able to move into the same suburb and afford the same type of house that your parents could. Because times have changed, guys. Just to even get close to that, or not even close to it anymore, to be honest, you need to both be working in the relationship. I mean, how many people grew up where only one of your parents were working? Until I was, 8 years old, my mother didn't work. She didn't have to. And then she started her own business. Now it's something that people either need to be earning a lot of money, or you need to sacrifice a lot to have one partner at home. The WF said, young people are entering the workforce in an employment ice age, which when compounded with climate change and rising inequality poses serious challenges. I think they're more important risks than climate change. They should be talking about the growing move for authoritarian socialism, but I mean, it's the WEF. That's kind of where they kind of have a tangent towards that, don't they? The risk of youth disillusionment is being largely neglected by the global community, but it will become a critical threat to the world in the short term, the report authors wrote. Hard-fought societal wins could be obliterated if the current generation lacks adequate pathways to future opportunities and loses faith in today's economic and political institutions. I think they're 100% right there. Yeah, nope. Klaus is 100% right with this. Because people are losing faith, particularly the youth. They're losing faith in today's political and economic institutions. And how will that manifest? That's the scary thing. Where a bunch of disenchanted, disenfranchised young people that have got nothing to lose. As always, let me know your thoughts and opinions on this one, guys. Do you know graduates who are struggling to get in? How did you find it when you first graduated, looking for work? Yeah, I remember when we got out of architecture school, it was booming. It was going really well. But the GFCs hit, and frankly, I don't think fees have recovered for what you can earn. Yeah. So guys, let me know your thoughts and opinions on this one. Please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. If you're a fan and enjoy the content I create here, there are a few ways you can support us. You can join us on YouTube or Patreon. You can support us using our affiliate links from Amazon, eBay, Independent Reserve, or Aussie Broadband. Take care, guys. Have a great day. I'll see you next time.